Are you looking for better shooting experience? How about a facility where you can shoot all of your firearms in the same day, where you can move and shoot steel, draw from the holster, and practice your rifle work up to 600 yards? Shoot a very challenging sporting clays course or a round of trap or skeet. You can do all that and much more at the Aurora Sportsman's Club. Hi, I'm David Lombardo, president of the Aurora Sportsman's Club. If you love the outdoors, you'll want to know all about Northern Illinois' largest outdoor shooting facility, the Aurora Sportsman's Club. If you're a novice looking for a basic course, an experienced shooter looking for an advanced course, or perhaps you want to participate in your favorite shooting event, or just spend an enjoyable day with a family, the Aurora Sportsman's Club is the only shooting facility in the region that offers all that and more. Interested? Then you won't want to miss the next orientation and tour of the Aurora Sportsman's Club. Call, email, or visit our website today to find out how you can become part of a better shooting experience at the Aurora Sportsman's Club in Waterman, Illinois.
He is the human Molotov cocktail that they can legally throw into the system that stole their lives from them.
So we're going to create a new government that serves you, your family, and your country. It's time for On Target Radio, Chicagoland's only radio show dedicated to the red meat issues that affect your life, from gun control to freedom of speech. Now, debating, debunking, and discussing today's hot issues, here are your hosts, David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz.
Welcome to On Target Radio. Tonight, David's rant of the week is The Slippery Slope of Liberal Marriage Laws, with David and Gretchen talking about the state of modern-day marriage. Then, we'll look at the American Civil Liberties Union's latest attack on religious freedom. This time, they want to shut down all faith-based adoption agencies. And here's a shocker, Hillary tried to rig the election. Finally, the left is yet again trying to bypass the Second Amendment with the Wicked Witch of the West focusing on modern sporting rifles. All that and more on tonight's On Target Radio. So give us a call at 815-205-1584. That's 815-205-1584. Or go to Facebook, like our page, On Target Radio, and ask a question or make a comment there.
And now, from the seething cauldron of personal opinion, it's time for David's Rant of the Week.
Omnia vincit amor, love conquers all. Oh, for the good old days when marriage was a sacred cow that a man and woman entered into for a lifetime commitment. Well, except for Britney Spears marrying her childhood friend Jason Alexander in Las Vegas and then having it annulled 55 hours later. It was 2004, and I remember thinking at the time, society was beginning to push the outside of the normalcy envelope. Who would have thought then that 11 years later, the 44th President of the United States would usher in gay marriage? But, to be fair, this country has had more than its share of time-honored, bizarre marriage laws. For instance, in Utah, first cousins can marry if they're both at least 65 years old. And in a little-known exception to that law, first cousins can marry at the age of 55, too, if neither is able to reproduce. 5 states allow marriage by proxy, which means someone can stand in for a bride or groom who can't be present at his or her wedding. It's limited to members of the U.S. Armed Forces. But of the 5 states that allow the practice, California, Kansas, Colorado, Texas, and Montana, Montana takes it a step further by allowing, you guessed it, double proxy weddings. Essentially, neither the bride nor groom has to show up, which I presume would end up with a wedding night consummation similar to that of Jackie Kennedy and Ari Onassis. And let's not forget the few months between 2007 and 2008 when, admittedly, through an administrative oversight, anyone under 18 could get married in the state of Arkansas with parental consent, including babies. The original law was meant to allow pregnant teenagers to get married if their parents approved, but lawmakers forgot to put in an age minimum, which, combined with a grammatical error, left the law open to anyone of any age. Oops. Oh, yes. Have you ever gotten married as a joke? Yeah, me either. Women have always thought marrying me would be a joke. But apparently this happens often enough in Delaware that it's actually an option when couples file for an annulment. Along with the basic reasons such as marrying without the capacity to consent, under duress, or with fraudulent information, couples can now check, quote, because of a jest or dare, unquote, when applying to dissolve the nuptials. Kentucky isn't so easy on marriage vows, however, where it's illegal to remarry the same man 4 times. I mean, seriously, if you've married and divorced someone 3 times, it's probably time for someone to step in. In Truro, Massachusetts, a groom-to-be must, quote, prove himself manly, unquote, prior to marriage by hunting and killing either 6 blackbirds or 3 crows. And in Salem, Massachusetts, a history of which trials notwithstanding, married couples are not allowed to sleep in the nude in a rented room. I'm guessing somebody turned on a black light in a motel room and it's a public safety law. So, it isn't as if marriage has been this pristine model over the years, but the advent of gay marriage was accompanied by the phrase slippery slope. Well, slippery slope appears to have turned into a 90-mile-per-hour luge run. Here's the current rundown. A woman in San Bernardino, California, feared she was asexual for years when she was unable to feel aroused by other people. She claims to have had her first orgasm while thinking of the Chrysler Building. Her tastes in objects led her to have feelings for Ford trucks, so she bought one and married it. A woman has married the Eiffel Tower. A man has married a computer game character. A New York woman married a fairground roller coaster, which we are informed was a difficult decision she made after considering a model spaceship, the Twin Towers, and a banister. A man has married a cardboard cutout of himself. Another man married a pillow. And one man married his dead girlfriend at her funeral. Then there's the guy who married his Labrador retriever, though, to be fair, it was a female lab. Another man has married a cow and yet another a goat. The latter marriage was short-lived when the goat swallowed a plastic bag at the wedding reception and tragically choked to death, which brings us to the latest story. An Oklahoma woman has pleaded guilty to incest after she married her biological mother. The mother, on the other hand, has pleaded not guilty. Seriously, you can't make this stuff up. However, the upside is with so many options available today, well, maybe there's still hope for me after all. And that, Gretchen, is my rant for the week.
I guess I need a microphone at this point.
You probably, well, you know, it never hurts. You could marry it. You could marry the microphone.
Raymond said, whatever happened to a good old shotgun wedding?
You don't need one anymore because they'll marry anything that moves. And
or doesn't.
Or it doesn't.
I'm guessing the Chrysler Building does not move.
Well, it kind of sways at the top in the wind. So that would probably help.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to consummate it, a little sway helps, you know. Well, I'm just, you know, I'm not, you know, it's a blunt trauma truth. This is all true stuff. This is what, and there's more. I mean, I had to pick stuff out because there's so much stuff.
Wow.
It's.
But this article you gave me is actually disgusting.
It is. But I thought a little levity, and I wanted to cheer you up, but I thought a little levity would be, well, you know, would have some value.
So I promised our friend John Spann.
John is intimately involved in
that
this.
We were going to talk about his family. So the 2 women who got married, who just happened to be mother and daughter, were of the Spann clan.
They were.
It turns out.
Now, look, I've got to deal with John on a kind of daily basis, and he's a great guy. So
he is a great guy.
Let's not go too far down the road on this one. But
I'm sure they're distant relatives. They probably married into the Spann name.
No doubt. No doubt.
Sure, there's no shared DNA.
The name
whatsoever.
spans generations. Yeah. The thing that I found interesting about this is...
And it's in Oklahoma. So
Oklahoma.
Let's just, lay that in the background.
Yeah. Oklahoma, where weird people bang like screen doors in a tornado. You know what I'm saying? But here's the thing. There's nothing else to do.
A lot of tornadoes.
There's nothing else to do in Oklahoma. The interesting thing about this...
They have casinos.
They do. I wouldn't bet on that. The interesting thing about this is they got it annulled over fraud and illegality. So apparently, she didn't know it was her mother. I don't quite know how this works out.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how all this happens, and does the charge of incest stem from, like, you go in, you submit the papers of, like, I want to get my marriage annulled because it technically wasn't legal, and they go, well, why wasn't it legal? Oh, because it's my mom. And they go, yeah, put your arms out like this.
And here's the best part. It's not like she hasn't had practice doing it. She married one of her sons.
Right.
So, I mean, she's
6
like an
years
old hand
earlier.
at this. Yeah. You're starting to run out of kids, you know?
She's got one left.
I got to get pregnant again, so I got somebody else to marry in 20 years.
She's got
or
one left.
10, or
Yeah.
whatever.
Who knows?
I'm not sure.
I think in Oklahoma it's 14.
Is it 14?
I don't.
Not according to, what's his name, was
That's
up for election.
It's a ballpark figure.
It's I don't know. Slippery slope, remember? It's a slippery slope.
It is.
Yeah, it's a luge
Well,
run.
we said that when, actually before the Supreme Court ruled that,
Right?
that same-sex couples couldn't be prevented from getting married. We said that before. And lots of very conservative people said that before. If two women can marry, then why not two women and one man? Why not two men and
There's
two
one
men
of
and one
those,
woman?
there's 2 men and a woman.
Why not 2 and 2? Why not
You and your-
two guys and a sheep? I mean,
You're quoting from articles.
I know, because I'm a librarian. That's what I do.
I'm thinking, what prevented the woman from marrying her banister? Consent? What does the banister do? It goes,
Right.
you know?
I'm guessing they turned out not to be compatible.
I see, and I find that hard to believe, because if she's sliding down that banister's not complaining. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
no.
She can have as much as she wants.
Right.
She's probably dominant.
Well, maybe that's why. Maybe the banister is like, you know what? Why buy the cow when you get the milk for free?
Maybe the banister had a splinter.
She's like, I hate you.
Fortunately, or she got to the end and there was a filium. What do they call them? Filial?
Finial.
Finial. Yeah.
Finial.
That would do it.
Well, I assumed that's what we were talking about this whole time.
You get stuck. Well, fortunately, it's time for a break.
Thank God.
When we return,
I shudder to think.
there is more genetic sexual attraction. When we return, we'll talk about genetic sexual attraction and all sorts of really things you don't want to know. When we return with more on Target Radio.
Safer USA, Chicago's most trusted name in firearm training, is offering beginners classes, tactical pistol and rifle, long-range rifle to 600 yards, and the most comprehensive Illinois concealed carry program available. The On Target Radio co-hosts David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz will prepare you to carry a firearm for personal protection, including firearm, holster, and ammunition selection. A comprehensive law review designed to keep you out of trouble and even how to deal with home invasions. Firearm, ammunition, holster, class notebook, and lunch are provided. Safer USA and the Aurora Sportsman's Club invite you to participate in this one-of-a-kind Illinois concealed carry program that also qualifies you for Florida, Utah, and Arizona non-resident permits. Find out what over 6,000 students already know at saferusa.com.
Or call 815-741-3474. That's 815-741-3474. Safer USA. Choosing to own a firearm is your business. Teaching you to own it responsibly is ours.
Do you dread writing? Is it challenging to find just the right words to get your point across? Do you put off developing marketing materials because you just don't know where to start? You get one chance to make a first impression, and my editor, Creative Business Services, can help make it a strong, positive one. Hi, this is Gretchen Fritz, co-host of On Target Radio, and I'd like to tell you about My Editor, a business I started to help you overcome those concerns. What you're experiencing is very common. My Editor has helped business owners, candidates for political office, and even authors and public speakers. At My Editor Creative Business Services, we can simply edit your existing work or help you develop an entire writing plan of action from initial project design through final copy. We are easy to work with and will help you get your point across in the most effective manner. If words escape you, send me an email at myeditor@mail.com. Use My Editor Creative Business Services and go to print with confidence. That's myeditor@mail.com or find us on Facebook.
You're listening to On Target Radio with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
Yeah, how could a radio station not want to pick us up?
I don't.
This is cutting edge stuff.
I can't imagine.
I mean,
probably the FCC fines alone would be like give them pause. They're like, I don't know about that.
Can we not say fairly and honestly that we are the only show of this type?
Yeah, I think we can.
I think it's fair.
So any station that would be like, okay, do we hire them and like actually, give them money to do this? The question is, is the ad revenue going to exceed or not exceed the FCC's violations? That's going to be like the main math question.
I look at what we do and I think of how Pinker used to just walk the line right up next to that line. We don't even see the line anymore. I mean, we've gone. It gets.
We kind of we see the line. We pull down our pants and taunt it.
Exactly.
We're like, hey.
Yeah. We have as a testament to voice recognition being worthless, we have a caller, and
we have no idea who it is.
It is total gibberish. I have no idea. So what we're going to do is we're going to find out who this caller is. Who is our caller?
It is John Spann.
Yay,
it is John
I knew
Spann.
It.
So
I predicted as much.
How are the relatives, John?
Well, it's really funny, you guys. Gretchen texted me before the show and said, we're going to talk about your family. And I'm like, uh-oh, what's going on now? Oh, my gosh. I go into damage control immediately and start to think what's going on. But it's really a funny segment. I don't think that we're kin to those people. I certainly hope not. But if they are blood somewhere along the line, I disavow any knowledge of them.
Well,
we assume that.
When I first read the story, I thought John's going to appreciate this. He's going to appreciate this.
I said the same. As soon as I realized I made the connection, I'm like, oh, this is good. I got to text him.
The thing I find interesting about this is that apparently I don't know, she didn't know it was her mother. I mean, a lot of times people don't know who their father was, but it's a little hard, for the mother not to know who her kid is.
Well, if they give them up for adoption at birth.
It doesn't say anything about that, though. I don't know. It's weird.
But it says they were, she lost custody, and she's not listed on the birth certificates of her children. So whatever that means.
Well, I want to thank you for your name, John.
Well, not a problem, guys. It's always good to talk to you. It's always fun. And, there are some mad whack people in my family, but I don't think that we go so far as to marry each other. We're all good Christian people. We believe in heterosexual marriage.
They're not, so marrying a banister, would that be male or I don't know. Is that...
I think that's kosher.
Is it? I'm not sure. I don't know. It's John. Can you you listen to this show? Can you imagine why a station wouldn't pick us up?
Oh well, no. I can't imagine why the FCC wouldn't want to have this over the open airwaves.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just wanted to do that was our audience survey, our audience research right there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
An N of one.
You guys do remember that when you were on WIND, I actually was a guest in the studio with you.
Long time ago.
In for a taping.
Long time ago. Yeah.
And I was very impressed with it there, and but I got to see and hear what goes on in between the breaks, and I thought, oh, okay, it's not 100% live.
No, and the funny thing
for
about
good reason.
The funny thing about that was we had a lot of people who preferred to listen to us on the internet, mostly because of Gretchen during commercial breaks. I think.
No, it was me and George.
That's true. George, I forgot George. I block him out sometimes.
George would open the door, and it would be just pure profanity.
You had no idea.
That would be the first word out of his mouth.
Yeah.
It's the most profane thing that you can imagine.
Not a lot of radio stations that you can do that on, but we brought our own camera, so it made it simpler.
Right, but let's not disguise the fact that it's an adult show.
I struggled to not make it an adult show, but it's morphed.
I like to think of it as, for adult content, not so much
Or a
adult,
dysfunctional family.
Yeah, not so much adult language necessarily as adult content.
That's true. It is. It's adult content.
Oh, that's great. You got to drag my family back into it. Fabulous.
Well, John, it's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure to have you call in. And, next time we do a story about your family, we'll give you a heads up.
All right. Well, I appreciate that very much. And thanks so much. And I am always watching, always listening. And I'll see you guys soon.
Okay.
I appreciate it. Thanks, John. You have a nice
night.
evening. Well, there you go. There was John, despite that cryptic word voice recognition.
I suspected that's what was going on.
Yeah, we need a call screener to go in the living room, and I don't know. I just every time I get a phone call from WIND, a couple of times they've called and they go, "We really would like you back here," and I just keep thinking, I'd like to be back there. It's just money.
It would be nice.
Yeah. All these cheapskates listen to the show. They don't pony up any. I say that, but
It's not true, actually.
when we did that little fundraising thing, I really got choked up. I remember that woman.
A couple of times, yeah.
Who said, "I just have a small business. I work out of my kitchen baking, but I'll give you, what did you say, 10% or 50%?
Yeah.
Of my gross." I go, that's just,
She apparently thinks you're God.
Or maybe she was going to pay us to not broadcast. I hadn't.
Well,
thought
that
about
worked out
that.
for her.
That would be a possibility.
That worked out really well for her, if that's what it was.
Yeah. But we did. We had a lot of people. Really, we had a lot of people donate money, but they're not like
A lot of
business
people,
owners.
right? They chipped in $20
Right.
or $100,
Yeah.
but week after week,
You can't do it.
it wasn't sustainable.
Not at $600 a week. You can't. It was, and we really needed 2 hours.
Well, I mean, an hour is good, but if you don't have actual advertisers, with advertisers comes the built-in audience.
Yeah.
It goes both ways.
It does.
You advertise to the audience, but also, the advertiser pulls in, listeners, and so, it's.
See here
you really need that.
Here we basically have the equivalent of a 2-hour show, not quite, because it's 39 minutes and 50 seconds in live. Our total commercials are what, maybe 6 minutes, 7 minutes?
Yeah, if that.
It's hardly
Pretty
that.
minimal.
So when you look at an
really
hour, we're getting almost the equivalent of a 2-hour show.
Right. It's closer to an hour than WIND ever could hope to be.
So, but I like the studio. And let's face it, there's a certain level of clout when you want to interview somebody and you go, I'm on WIND. They go, really?
Yeah, there's pros and cons. It's a much longer drive to there.
Yeah.
All you have to do is stumble downstairs. I have to drive 10, 15 minutes to get here.
Stumble down. Oh, here.
Here.
Yeah, it's a very short drive. I go to
right.
my garage, sit in the car for a minute, and then walk back in.
Just to make it feel like
Yeah.
you went somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, WIND was a good, 40, 45-minute drive.
And I used to
way.
almost always used to come from Waterman.
A lot of times, yeah. A lot
so
of times
it
we
was,
were coming directly. We'd teach class all day and then go directly
Yeah.
to the station. So it was hairy. It was hairy at times.
It was cool. Anyway, it is what it is. Until somebody's willing to give us $2,400 a month.
So did you want to finish talking about?
Well,
some of these things. It's interesting because it's pointed out that Matt Barber, I think he's a journalist, he said in January 2015 that incest would be the next frontier in reproductive freedom. And I'm guessing he's a conservative. He wasn't saying that in like a positive way. He was saying it in a negative way. And then this woman, what's her name? Kuttner or something.
Jenny Kuttner.
Okay, she's writing about this, and she's calling it. She focuses on sex, gender, and feminism.
Yeah.
And this Freedom Outpost says, which means she spends her days rationalizing each and every conceivable form of sexual deviancy.
As you know, I've never had a problem with gays, and I don't. I've always said that the biggest problem Republicans have is they should get out of people's bedrooms. But I don't want it forced down my throat. You know, that's my issue. My issue is I don't care what you do privately if you're not hurting somebody else. It's your life. Spend it how you want. I just don't want it rammed down my throat. You know, that's what bothers me about all this stuff. Liberalism is not, despite what they say, it's not about the freedom to do what you want. It's about forcing people who don't agree with them to have to accept it. And that's, I don't care what it is.
Right. They pass it off as, oh, we're so tolerant. They're the least tolerant people
Absolutely.
in the entire world.
They are.
They're the worst.
They are. I mean, if you look at conservatives, what's his name? Is gay? What's his name? Yiannopoulos, whatever it is.
Oh, Milo.
Milo, you know.
Milo Yiannopoulos, yeah.
He's on the tour speaking. People want to listen. But Republicans are funny about that. We may not personally like something, but our attitude is as long as you're not screwing anything over, I don't care what you do. It's
right,
up to
exactly.
you.
As long as you're not breaking the law, and as
Right.
long as you're not cramming it down my throat, you know. And
I just don't want to know about
I
it.
actually had this discussion with my father earlier today. So I can't say that it's, you know, that it's trendy, but I'm finding out more and more people actually lean libertarian or
Yeah,
are
I
or
agree.
claim to be libertarian.
Well, they espouse more and more libertarian
Right.
points
And
of view.
so and that's a very libertarian point of view is, you know, I don't think that it's right, but
It's laissez-faire.
I'm not going to tell you can't do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the important part is I'm not going to force other people to agree with me. And that's what this is. And is the next one the ACLU thing? Yeah, it is.
Yes.
So, and again, this is exactly what they're doing. They've always said, well, you know, we just want rights. But that's not what it's
No,
about.
it's
It's
not.
about forcing a change in the very culture of the country. Because all this stuff existed before, but nobody talked about it.
And with this ACLU one, just like with the bakeries, the bakers, and
Right.
the cake, you know, decorating people, they're targeting them specifically.
Exactly.
And yeah, it's disgusting. But you know, one thing I want to say about this Freedom Outpost article, this Kuttner woman, she is citing the Guardian paper and website as like an authoritative source. The Guardian is like Great Britain's version of USA Today. Okay, so don't tell me that that's
or the Boston Globe.
right. Don't try. Was it the Boston Times?
Times? Is that what it was?
Yeah, I think it was the Boston Times. I think the Globe is legit. But, you know, don't tell me that that's like an authoritative source of 50% of reunions between siblings and or parents separated at birth results in genetic sexual attraction. Okay, the Guardian is not an authoritative source, so don't try to pass it off as one.
You know, everybody knows that liberals just make stuff up. And sometimes it's so outrageous, it's so over the top. And when they get caught red-handed, they just go on to the next one.
They just shrug.
They don't care.
Yeah, they just,
Yeah.
They make no apologies about it. But I also like this, the writer says they've become quite accomplished in the art of Orwellian newspeak.
Yeah.
That, you know, male-on-male sodomy becomes gay, child rape is now intergenerational romance, and a pedophile predator is referenced as a minor attracted person. No.
Well, when we come back, a big news break thing is going to happen. We're going to tell you a big break. We'll return with more on Target Radio. Hi, I'm David Lombardo, co-host of On Target Radio, and I'd like to offer you a partnership opportunity. For over 4 years, On Target Radio covered the red meat issues that affect your life, from gun control to freedom of speech on AM 560 The Answer. But a 1-minute commercial was $200, making it tough to find enough sponsors. So last November, we left AM 560 and began podcasting. There's a learning curve to podcasting, and we've worked through the kinks and would now like to make you an offer. You can have a 60-second audio or video commercial for as little as $25 a week. We can also offer fellow conservatives their own radio or video podcast for as little as $100 a week, with equipment and technical personnel included. You provide the content and host, plus get 6 free minutes of commercial time you can sell yourself. If you'd like to be an On Target Radio sponsor or explore the possibility of having your own show, call me at 815-741-3474, and let's explore the possibilities together.
You're listening to On Target Radio with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
This segment is brought to you by the Will County Grassroots Division of the Illinois State Rifle Association. Join us at 7 p.m. Wednesday, November 15th at the Silver Dollar Restaurant in Elwood, Illinois. Our guest speakers will be Representative Margot McDermott and Senator Mike Connolly talking about how the Illinois legislature works and how the public can impact the development of new laws. Can't make it to Elwood? The program will be broadcast live and archived for future viewing at youtube.com on Target Radio. Join us Wednesday, November 15th at 7 p.m. at the Silver Dollar Restaurant in Elwood, Illinois.
Don't you want to just, kick the American Civil Liberties Union's ass?
Yes.
Every once in a great while, they will champion something that, conservatives believe in. Because they've actually a couple times stuck up for, gun laws and things.
Yeah, very rarely. Though.
Very rarely. Very rarely.
I actually have a proposal for them, but I don't know that they would ever do it. I'm surprised they've never challenged DUI laws. Because
Why
DUI...
are you surprised?
Because especially the higher sort of automatic DUI at 0.10 or 0.08
yeah.
that most states are 08 now, only alcoholics would ever be able to get to that.
True.
So it's discriminatory against alcoholics.
That's pretty much the point of it.
But I'm surprised they've never gone after that.
Well, probably because it's mostly, I would think, conservatives getting killed, because the liberals are all high on dope and they can't even find the car. You know what I'm saying? They just sort of stagger out and fall on the front lawn. Mm-hmm. Whereas conservatives can, a very small percentage of conservatives can actually find a car and put keys in it and go out and drive drunk. I don't know. The concept of an American Civil Liberties Union sounds really good on paper.
It does, yes, I agree.
The problem is it is not.
It's completely staffed by liberals, apparently.
Yeah. And it has happened. There have been times that they've, and I don't know, when they have sort of crossed the line over to the other side, I've always looked at it like, I wonder why they're doing it.
Yeah.
There's something going on I don't know about here. Yeah, it's just by chance it happens to be something I believe in.
You eye it with suspicion.
Exactly. Because they sure as hell have done a lot of damage. They've played the system, and they play the system particularly because they go to venues, jurisdictions where they know the judges are liberal, and they set stuff up.
Oh yeah. Well, and this is a good example. So I mentioned
good segue.
Yeah, I mentioned with the bakers and they target. So this one is faith-based adoption agencies. So these are agencies that help place foster children into temporary homes, and then in many cases those children are permanently adoptable, and they are adopted, and then sometimes babies as well. Sometimes couples looking for babies. Michigan has a law that so Michigan, when the law was enacted, Michigan State Rep. Andrea LaFontaine said, the bill simply preserves the system we use today. It's, it wasn't meant to discriminate against same-sex couples. It's just preserving the faith-based organization's right to do that, to operate according to their own principles. But this lawsuit was filed. ACLU filed a lawsuit against the state of Michigan because this is one example. One of the plaintiff couples refused to take advantage of a secular agency that was only 11 miles away. So they purposely targeted a faith-based agency when they could have gone to a secular agency and been, and gotten a child to adopt.
And the reality that it has nothing whatsoever to do with fairness lies in the fact that status quo does not prevent agencies from placing kids with whoever they feel like placing them with. Mm-hmm. It just says you should go into your own conscience. Now, maybe 2 weeks ago, I want to say now, it was a coffee house owned by some uber-liberal guy, and some Trump supporters went in to have coffee because they liked the guy's coffee, and he kicked them out because they were Trump supporters.
Okay.
Now, if it had been conservatives who kicked somebody out that had Hillary's T-shirt on,
You'd be hearing about it.
You bet about it. You bet it would have hit the fan. But no, but he did it, and it's just a blurb. It just showed up on a news feed. It's just a blurb. No
I
one
didn't
cares.
hear about it.
Yeah. And so that's just classic liberalism. It has nothing to do with fairness. It has nothing to do with people having right. People have been all the stuff that we talked about. People have been doing that forever. Mm-hmm. There've been gays forever. All that's always existed. And I know there have been times in history when people have been persecuted because of different things. But really, 2017. Come on.
Right.
Nobody goes to the near north side and hunts down gays and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, really, for the most part, the ACLU could just shut down because everything's so liberal now. It's like
you can do anything you want.
What do they have to fight about? Unless they're targeting Christians, that's really their sole purpose at this point. But just by way of example. There have been some areas, Massachusetts, Illinois, and District of Columbia, all their faith-based organizations, foster agencies, basically shut down because they were forced to, accept same-sex couples. In Illinois, over 2,000 children had to be moved to different agencies around the state.
And so what they are really doing is they're hurting kids.
Yeah.
That's really what they're doing.
But yet they try to make it's all about the children.
So is gun control. It's all about children.
It's all about the children. Everything they do, it's all about the children.
It's all about the children. You don't like to, and that's and they love that argument. If you try and have an intelligent discussion, an intelligent debate, look, these are my points. What are your points? As soon as you go against their point, they go, you don't care about the children.
Well, right.
And we get sucked into that.
It's something emotional.
Right, we get sucked into it.
Try to tap into something emotional that you're on the defensive and you get all screechy and then.
That's what conservatives do. No, I'm not against the children. What you really ought to do is punch him. Just punch him and go, stop.
Well, what you have to bring it back. Stop just making emotional arguments. Let's make a legitimate, fact-based argument. Do you have any evidence to back up what you're saying?
They can't win their argument when you do that.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying we need to do. That's what I'm saying conservatives need to do.
Agree.
But it looks like the ACLU doesn't really have a leg to stand on because there's already a case that went to the Supreme Court. It was Trinity Lutheran versus Comer. Supreme Court faulted the state of Missouri for expressly requiring Trinity Lutheran Church Child Learning Center to renounce its religious character in order to participate in a generally available public benefit program. So, I don't know, it doesn't really, although that's not an adoption agency per se, but it doesn't really seem like they have a leg to stand on.
And that's not seemed like they had a leg to stand on in the past on other things, and yet they stood.
True. They're still around. They're still filing frivolous cases.
The liberalism is just, it's out of control. And I want to bring up, as long as we're talking about that, I told you I met John Ferriman earlier this week. John Ferriman is an African-American criminal defense attorney on the south side of Chicago who has handled a lot of gun cases and stuff like that. And he's a Democrat, and he's going to challenge Tom Dart for sheriff. Now, most of the people, if not all the people listening to us right now, are going, yawn, who cares? But here's the thing. John Ferriman was born and raised in Texas, and this man is pro-Second Amendment, as in pro-Second Amendment.
So in other words, he's kind of a dino.
He's kind of, and he says, I'm a very conservative Democrat. His mother was a Democrat and his father was a Republican. I said, how'd you get to be a Democrat? She goes, my mother was a Democrat. I spent more time with my mother. But a very conservative Democrat. And one of the comments he made to me, I spent half a day with him, was we were talking about, and we're sort of figuring out how to word things so that he doesn't tick off Democrats. But he said, a law-abiding gun owner should not be harassed coming into Cook County. I mean, he's going to make some changes. Now, the great interesting thing about this is Toni Preckwinkle asked him to run for sheriff. She's as anti-gun as you can get, but she basically is overlooking the gun part.
I'm assuming that it's public knowledge why Tom Dart is
No.
no longer the fair-haired child?
It's not.
Oh, it's not.
It will be,
Okay.
but it's not. And I'm not going to, I mean, I don't,
Okay.
you know.
So
I
we
was,
can't say, because it's
yeah.
really good.
Yeah, it is. But it'll come out. But I'm not, this was said to me in confidence. And
Sure.
yeah. But yeah, so, well, but Preckwinkle's never liked Tom Dart.
Oh, really? I didn't know
No,
that.
she's never liked him. So that's sort of moot. But that he's going to sink like the Titanic come election time.
And also, white guy against black guy in Cook County.
Yeah. And here's the interesting thing. If he's elected, this is hard to wrap my brain around. Well, I wonder what percentage of Cook County is black. Pretty high.
Yeah.
Pretty high percent. He will be the first black sheriff in Cook County history.
Wow.
So, John Howard, John
Yeah.
is a good friend. John and I are like really attached to his campaign now. I'm going to do all the word stuff, and and we think he's got. We don't know who else might enter the primary.
Sure.
That's always a wild card.
Sure.
But he'd be a good sheriff, and the other thing he's talked about is this. He goes, it's idiotic for anybody who's a member of the sheriff's department to not be a sworn deputy and out on the street. When they're on the street, they should be a deputy, which would put hundreds more people on the street because Dart's got all these administrative people.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, he's a very interesting guy. Well, I'm going to talk more about him as we go, but yeah, interesting guy. We're running a little bit behind on copy here, so we've got the big breaking news that I was going to give. The big breaking news is, are you ready for this? Do we have a drum roll? We don't have a drum roll, do we?
No drum roll.
No
we
drum
can,
roll.
Yeah, we can
No drum
hit
roll.
the table or something.
Okay, here you go. Is everybody seated? Everybody got their seatbelt on? Hillary Clinton tried to rig the election. Are we shocked or what? Donna
shocked.
Brazil wrote a book. Couldn't be because she's PO'd at the DNC and Hillary Clinton.
It couldn't be that she's like, her name is Mud in the DNC.
Yeah. So we'll chat a little bit about that when we come back. And also, we've got one other thing, and that is they're back again. They want another assault weapon ban. It's all history repeats itself. So we'll talk about all of that. And you got something to cover, right?
I do.
Upcoming
I got
stuff.
a good one.
Great. All that and more when we return with more on Target Radio.
Safer USA, Chicago's most trusted name in firearm training, is offering beginners classes, tactical pistol and rifle, long-range rifle to 600 yards, and the most comprehensive Illinois concealed carry program available. The On Target Radio co-hosts David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz will prepare you to carry a firearm for personal protection, including firearm, holster, and ammunition selection. A comprehensive law review designed to keep you out of trouble and even how to deal with home invasions. Firearm, ammunition, holster, class notebook, and lunch are provided. Safer USA and the Aurora Sportsman's Club invite you to participate in this one-of-a-kind Illinois concealed carry program that also qualifies you for Florida, Utah, and Arizona non-resident permits. Find out what over 6,000 students already know at saferusa.com.
Or call 815-741-3474. That's 815-741-3474. Safer USA. Choosing to own a firearm is your business. Teaching you to own it responsibly is ours.
In need of a ride to O'Hare or Midway Airport? Well, look no further. The Yellow Checker Cab Company is the cab company for you. With the Yellow Checker Cab Company, you will always be greeted by a friendly face and arrive safely and on time for your flight. Start your trip off right by taking advantage of one of their limos, shuttle vans, cabs, or courtesy cars. And airport trips are not all they specialize in. This 24-hour cab service will pick you up anytime, any day, for any occasion. From bachelorette parties to school dances to just a night out with friends. Yellow Checker Cab Company has the best rates in town. So sit back, relax, and leave the driving to the professionals. Once you experience their fast and affordable cab service, you'll be a customer for life. When it comes to cab companies, be sure to choose Yellow Checker Cab because you have the right to expect certain things from your cab company. For further information or to book your trip today, call 815-744-2900. That's 815-744-2900.
You're listening to On Target Radio with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life. Stand by. Here's Gretchen with your action items for the week.
From the Illinois State Rifle Association, a group affiliated with gun grabber Michael Bloomberg, going by the name Illinois Moms, will be holding an organizing and recruitment meeting Monday, November 13th at 7 p.m. at the Deerfield Public Library building. This group is actively promoting regulation that would ban and require forfeiture of most of the guns in your gun safe, ration ammunition, shut down most gun shops in the state, raise the cost of firearms anywhere from $100 to $700 each, and register gun owners like sex offenders. If you care anything about your gun rights, you will show up for this important meeting. Please try to be there by 6:30 p.m. Take names and take notes. If you see media there, engage them and tell them that you are a law-abiding firearm owner and that you resent Michael Bloomberg and his organization treating you like a common criminal. The following Safer USA classes are at our facility in Waterman, Saturday and Sunday, November 25th and 26th. NRA Rifle Instructor, taught by David. Saturday and Sunday, December 2nd and 3rd, Illinois Concealed Carry 1. This 16-hour class will be taught by David and Gretchen and meets the training requirements for Illinois Concealed Carry as well as Florida, Arizona, and Utah. To sign up for classes, go to saferusa.com and click on register.
I find it interesting that Donna Brazil has written a book, and in it she told Tucker Carlson, who, you know, the arch conservative, she told Tucker Carlson, I wanted to write this book to tell my story. I wanted the American people to see what happened. See, the only reason a liberal wants the American people to see what happened is because she got shafted by her own people.
Right, exactly.
And this is payback, because those people will eat their young, you know? So
that's politics, though. I mean, I hate to say, but Republicans eat their own young.
To a certain degree, but I mean, it's an art form among liberalism. It really is. I mean, politics is a microcosm of society, and you get all kinds of people on both sides of the aisle. You know, we had Richard Nixon. We've had, you know, Adam Kinzinger, who told us he was going to do all this stuff, and then just totally had a change of person, totally change of personality. I think I don't remember if I told you or not, when his whatever his aide or whatever came into one of the Republican meetings and said, I'm here representing him, I came this close to going, oh no, the Democratic meeting is down the hallway, you know. So it's true. I mean,
I think you did say something to the Mark Kirk kid, didn't you?
Oh yeah. Yeah, Mark, that's another whole story. So it's sure, of course, there's disingenuous Republicans too, but liberalism is sort of founded on a foundation of we don't really care if it's true or not. This is what we want it to be. You know, when Republicans are out stumping, they take something that's factual that they don't like and they say, this is what I want to change. Liberals just make stuff up and go, this is what the other side... That's the thing. Here it is. This is the thing. Typically, Republicans go out and they talk about what exists and how we want to change it. Typically, liberals go out and talk about what's wrong with Republicans.
Right.
They don't have like...
We're more positive campaigners.
Right. They don't have a platform. They don't have something we feel strongly about X or Y. It's always this, what's the word I want to add? When you say negative stuff, what's the ad hominem? It's always this sort of ad hominem stuff about Republicans. They run on not being Republican. Yeah. And it's really worked so well for them lately. I hope they keep doing it. But I never thought about that before. But that is kind of what they do. They run on not being a Republican. Now, it's very interesting that blacks on the south side of Chicago, and particularly women, are buying guns. They have gotten fed up with, you know, the police will protect you and all that stuff, and guns are bad. They're getting real fed up with that.
Yeah.
We saw Ron Diesel last night, and of course Rhonda's, you know, real big on that.
Rhonda went all the way out there. That's like a 2-hour drive for her.
Well, she doesn't drive. She doesn't have a
Okay.
car. So Mike Weissman's, I don't know what, anyway, somebody related to Mike picked her up and brought her out.
That's
She said to say hi, by the way.
Oh.
She said to say hi.
Yes.
She's a nice lady. She's
She
a good
is.
lady. But, you know, I think there is an awakening happening in those neighborhoods where people are going, it's only been like 50 years, 60 years of promises from the Democratic Party with nothing changing. Well, that's not true. It's getting worse. It is changing. It's getting worse. So I don't know. It would. I've always said this. There's no logical reason for the African American population to not be Republican.
There really isn't.
They're Christian. They have very strong values in that regard. I mean, when you look at it, they're far more in keeping with conservative values than they are with liberal values.
Especially the ones who don't live on welfare.
Right.
I mean, especially the ones who have gotten off the plantation, if you will.
Yeah.
You know, and you know the ones that don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that there's no difference between welfare and slavery. But newsflash, there's no difference between welfare and slavery.
Yeah. It's just another form of it. It's that simple. It's at some point you got to ask. Well, and that may be the key. The key may very well be maybe they really don't believe what liberals say, but they get stuff.
Well, it's a lot of it.
Yeah,
I mean
they
that's
get
why
stuff.
they do it. They're buying votes, and that's why
Yeah,
the politicians give them stuff. Is they're essentially buying votes.
But they're getting themselves killed. And,
in many cases, yeah.
The
You know, I'm always my heart is always warmed, and I'm always encouraged. Like when all the protests were going on, the Black Lives Matters BS and stuff, and the mom in Chicago, I don't remember what area it was in, but her teenage son is out protesting, and he's wearing like a mask.
Oh, yes.
He was even wearing a mask,
Yes.
but of course his mom knows what he looks like even with a mask on, and she goes out there and she's like beating his ass.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Dragging him out.
you go, Mom.
Yeah.
That makes me so happy because that's parenting. That's actual real parenting, and that is what has so much been missing from that community. Is real parenting.
It has. And every time liberals give me this racism stuff, I go, that's just crap. It's just good.
It is.
We have the Republican Party. Well, first of all, just look at the ticket that ran for president. It was the most diverse ticket. What did the liberals have? The Democrats had an old crooked woman and an old communist guy.
Right.
And they're both white.
And even before that, I mean, it was all white guys.
Right. But it's interesting when you look at Will County. Just look at the Will County Republican Party.
Oh yeah.
They're blacks. We got Hispanics. We got and everybody gets along. We're all friends. I've said this over and over again. It has nothing to do with race. It has to do with shared values.
It does.
That's what it's about.
And I will go so far as to say, and this may be an unpopular opinion, but I think that my friends who are black, who know who understand where I'm coming from, I would say that blacks are revered in the local Republican Party. When they walk into a room,
Sure, they are.
Everybody wants to know what they have to say. Everybody knows who they are.
Because we want to get everybody. We want to get their friends.
Well, there's that, but it's also they stand out.
Yeah.
They simply stand out. So I can walk into a room, but there's 10 other blonde white women in there. Okay, I'm literally a dime a dozen in a Republican meeting. But okay, you are. but if you're a black woman or a black man and you walk in there, everybody wants to know who you are. If they don't already know who you are, they want to know who you are.
And it really does boil down to that. It's not a question of ethnic background. It's not a question of your color. It's not a question of your religion. It's a question of basic shared values.
It is.
And if you're black or brown or yellow or white, it's irrelevant. If you believe that basically you should follow the law, and basically you're responsible for your own well-being, and you're responsible, other people don't cause you to fail, you cause you to fail, welcome to the club.
Right.
You're one of us.
Again, I would even go out on a limb and say, that's why I say things like our Jewish friend from New York City, because I want people to know, we know a very conservative man from New York City who happens to be Jewish.
Yep.
And to me, I think that's an important detail about who he is. And he's somebody on Facebook, or somebody one time pulled something off Facebook that I had said, that I had said something about George was one of my favorite, favorite black men.
I remember that.
And they
made
were
a big deal of it.
They were skewering me because I said he was one of my favorite black men instead of just one of my favorite men, and I said that's really funny because I'm pretty sure that he self-identifies as black.
Yes. And by the way, that's also a good point, because when you look at like him or Raquel or anybody, they're not giving up being black people.
No.
They just believe in the same basic set of stuff that we believe in. There's just a common, you make your own way in life. And I think the greatest underscore of that was those two hurricanes. There was the one in New Orleans, and then there was the one in, was it Galveston or wherever, in Texas.
Texas.
So basically pretty much the same level hurricane, did the same kind of damage. In one case, a liberal-run city, people died, it was a disaster. And in Texas, it was like, oh, hurricane, probably ought to leave.
Well, and the ones who got stuck in the flooding, the aftermath, they're helping each other out.
They're helping
hey,
each other
I
out.
got a boat, come get in my boat,
Yeah.
and you see that again and again, a white man carrying a Hispanic child through the floodwaters,
Yeah.
It didn't matter.
It's getting the message across. That's the hard part. And I was talking.
But the Democrats are very, very good at making us look like villains.
Yeah.
They're very, very good
They are.
at picking out every little thing and just blowing that up and blowing it out of proportion and making it a huge big deal. Whether it's true or not. I mean, a lot of times they'll take things out of context. They'll make something to mean what it wasn't originally intended to mean. Like what I've said about George Pearson being my second favorite, my favorite black man. They're going to make that mean something that it never originally meant.
Well, and the other thing that they're really good at doing is saying, because Bob is a multimillionaire, you're getting screwed. Mm-hmm. It's not a zero-sum game.
Yeah.
Anybody can become a multimillionaire,
and Bob doesn't have to stop being one.
But they're very good at that class thing.
Right, exactly. And it's like, okay, well, Al Gore and Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton and they're multi-bazillionaires, and the richest of them all is John Kerry and his wife, the ketchup princess. Yeah. So it's like,
and they're talking about the wealthy people.
They're like billionaires, And it's like I don't understand how the Democrat voters in general, not those upper echelon people, but the voters in general, how they fail to notice the fact that John Kerry and Hillary Clinton have multiple homes and they have lavish lifestyles and they go here and they go there, and how do you not know that? It's like you want to give various people in the Republican Party a hard time for having a lot of money. I don't see them giving up their stuff.
We're gonna have to go, but I just want to point out that Dianne Feinstein is back wanting not only an assault weapon ban, but basically she's coming after pretty much all semi-automatic firearms. I don't know how much traction that has, but just to let you know, it may be time to be calling your senator or congressman in Washington, and see what they have to say. Don't call Kinzinger or Kirk. Just,
Kirk's not in anymore.
No, that's true.
He got deposed.
Yeah. Anyway, we'd like to thank you for taking time to listen to us this very evening, and we'd appreciate if you tell your friends, if you have any, about On Target Radio.
They have friends. Of course they have friends.
No, I don't have friends. Nobody invites me over for a cup of coffee.
You shouldn't say things like that. That makes them feel bad.
Fine.
We'd also like to thank our engineer, Eric Allen, and our sponsors, the Will County chapter of the Illinois State Rifle Association, Yellow Checker of Joliet, my editor, Creative Business Services, the Aurora Sportsman's Club, and Safer USA.
And finally, we hope you'll listen next week when we'll be covering more red meat issues that affect your life.